Tonight, anti-democratic left-wing agitators and Hollywood liberals are absolutely losing their minds because Donald Trump has been elected our next president.
In her lifetime, she deserves to be the first female president.
Will this lunacy ever end? Larry Elder and the Reverend Darrell Scott are here tonight with reaction.
We need great people negotiating our deals for us.
Then President-elect Trump moves ahead with his transition plans. So what will the Trump administration look like? Kellyanne Conway is here to react.
Real change begins with immediately repealing and replacing the disaster known as Obamacare.
And Donald Trump promised to repeal and replace Obamacare. So how quickly will he be able to do that? All of that plus Kimberly Guilfoyle. Hannity starts right here, right now. And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, anti-democratic liberals are completely losing their minds over President-elect Donald Trump. Now, left-wing agitators, they've been taken to the streets to try and undermine Mr. Trump's decisive victory, and Democrats are doing nothing to discourage or stop them. Now, while President-elect Trump is talking about bringing the country together after a very long and hard-fought campaign, the left, they're starting violent protests. They're spewing hateful rhetoric and even attacking Donald Trump supporters. Now, according to the Chicago Tribune, a day after the election in the Windy City, a man involved in a traffic incident was then viciously beaten because an angry mob just assumed that he was a Trump supporter. We've got to warn you, this video is very disturbing. Take a look.
Yeah, he voted Trump. Yeah.
Don't vote Trump.
Don't vote Trump. Don't vote Trump.
Did it? Still in split. Wait, take the lighter shot.
Beyond disgusting, but the left apparently doesn't think it's worth condemning. Now, the Chicago Tribune is also reporting that the man did, in fact, vote for Trump, but there was no way the attackers would have known that because he never told them. Again, they apparently just assumed he was a Trump supporter. And last night in Portland, Oregon, dozens were arrested after police say left-wing agitators started a riot by attacking drivers and smashing cars and destroying businesses. So where are the Democrats? Where are the leaders? Where's Hillary? Where's Obama on this? Why aren't they speaking out against this unpatriotic behavior? Now, Democrats love to claim they're all-loving, the all-inclusive party, but I guess that only applies when their side wins the White House. And what happened to the Democrats' campaign theme? You know, remember, when they go low, we go high? Remember, it wasn't too long ago they were saying this.
When someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
So we're going to take to heart the words of our wonderful First Lady, Michelle Obama. When they go low, we go high.
Meanwhile, they all took the low road during the campaign. And let me point out that these are the same people who nearly lost it when Donald Trump said at the third debate he would wait until after the election actually happened to accept the results. Well, they expected Trump to accept the election results, so why won't they? There's also the massive, hysterical, and quite frankly predictable freakout from Hollywood liberals. Take a look at poor Miley Cyrus and how she reacted to Donald Trump's big win. It's very sad.
I do want to say that I've been very vocal for my support for everyone besides Donald Trump. Heavily supported Bernie, heavily supported Hillary. And I still think that in her lifetime she deserves to be the first female president. And that's what makes me so sad. Is that I just wish that she had that opportunity because she's fought for so long.
Wow. What do you say to that? Now, she is not alone. Miley Cyrus has called Donald Trump pretty much every name in the book and said if he won, she'd leave the planet. And then there's also Madonna. Now, she was reportedly spotted at a protest in New York City where agitators, they were chanting, "He's not my president." And in all seriousness, Hollywood liberals, Donald Trump, he won fair and square. And your life, by the way, is not going to change one bit. Your rich, fancy lifestyle, your Learjet lifestyle, your big limousines, your fancy dinners, it's not going to end. The world isn't going to end. You're going to still make millions of dollars on your crappy movies and do every single thing that you normally do. So enough of the little baby temper tantrums that are going on here. What is going to change is the life, hopefully, of millions of forgotten Americans, the forgotten man election, I call it, who have seen their jobs disappear, who haven't had a raise in years, with the lowest home ownership rate in 51 years, the lowest labor participation rate, believe it or not, since the 1970s, 95 million Americans out of work. You know what? 2 to 3 jobs people are taking to support their families. They're not living your lifestyle. Healthcare premiums have skyrocketed for the average American. People completely ignored by the political elites in Washington, and all Barack Obama did was make it worse. Donald Trump ran for president to help them, to make their lives better. And when he puts his policies into place, hopefully all Americans will benefit. Here with reaction, nationally syndicated radio talk show host Larry Elder and my friend, the man, the Reverend Darrell Scott, who served as the CEO for the National Diversity Coalition for Trump. All right, Pastor, maybe you need, prayer, fasting. What do you make of this freak out that's going on?
Listen, the hypocrisy of the left is on full display for all America to see. If you think about it, all of the violence, all of the deceit, the treachery, the underhandedness, the dirty tricks, their dirty tricks put Nixon to shame. It's all come from the left. I mean, Cher, I think maybe we can put our money together and get Cher on one of those trips to the moon from one of those private companies. Send her to the moon. Miley, she needs to go somewhere, be with a wrecking ball or whatever. But you know what? I think the protesters are protesting against the wrong person. They need to protest against the Democratic Party and the Hillary Clinton campaign on how they colluded together and stole the election, the nomination from Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders might have stood a better chance against Donald Trump than Hillary did, but they conspired against him, stole the election, put their candidate up. She got destroyed by Trump, and now they're upset. And it's nothing they can do but whine and tear up something. We see where all the violence is from. We see where all of this is coming from. They can't hide it anymore. They can't blame Trump. Trump ran a clean campaign. They can't blame Trump for this one.
One of the things I think got underreported, Larry, was his New Deal for Black America, for African Americans. If he goes into cities like Chicago and he takes on the violence, he changes the educational system, he creates, if he's able to incentivize corporations to bring back trillions and corporations lowering their tax rates, bringing them back to America, hopefully they'll set up shop in Detroit, in Wisconsin, near where Pastor Scott lives, and in Pennsylvania. This could be a real opportunity to transform things in a very positive way.
Absolutely. And if I were one of these anti-Trump protesters, Sean, I think I'd have to ask myself a few questions. How is it that Donald Trump managed to double the percentage of the black vote compared to John McCain and Mitt Romney? How is it that he got a higher percentage of the Hispanic vote than did Mitt Romney? And if he's anti-gay, how is it that before he became president, he was severely criticizing the Clinton contributions, the Clinton Foundation contributions that they got from countries like Saudi Arabia, where homosexuality is a crime, if not punishable by death? If he's anti-Semitic, how is it that he's embraced Ivanka's husband, who is Jewish? She's converted to Judaism. He's got another son who's married to a Jew. He's got a lot of executives who are Jewish in his organization. And when he gave his acceptance speech, Sean, one of the first things he said is, I'm going to address the plight of the inner city. How is it that this man is considered to be such a bigot? If that's bigotry, he needs to go back to racism school.
Yes. Reverend, what's your word to people that maybe didn't support Donald Trump? That I don't think there's any one economic measure you can look at that says, oh, things have gotten better in the last 8 years. What is your message to people that may be in that freak-out mode because maybe they believe the lies and propaganda of a very biased media?
They need to relax, take a deep breath, and chill out and get ready for quite possibly the best 8 years America has enjoyed in a very long time. I'm really believing Donald Trump is going to usher in a golden age here in America of peace and prosperity. I'm not making him out to be a messianic figure. I'm simply saying that if his policies are enacted, he's going to revitalize that inner city. He's going to stimulate economic growth. Our borders will be secure. There will be this spirit of fear, this attitude of fear that the Democratic Party has imposed upon America. He's going to soothe those fears, so to speak. And we're going to look up and be glad that this man became president.
Right.
When he said you have nothing to lose, what he was simply saying was, give me a chance. If they give Donald Trump a chance, if we give Donald Trump a chance, we're going to be glad about the decision that we made. I can tell you that much.
All right. Larry, last word.
Well, Sean, if Obama had done nothing, we would have had a 3% GDP. We've had a 2%, and the difference between 2% and 3% is 1 million jobs times the number of the years of the recovery. So all Trump has to do is reverse many of the stuff that Obama has done, such as Obamacare, such as these ridiculous regulations that he's put on the backs of the American people. Allow choice in inner city schools, and this economy will boom. Lower the corporate tax rate, this economy is going to take off.
All right. Guys, I think you both were very strong supporters for Donald Trump.
We were.
And I think you helped him a lot in this election. Thank you both. And coming up today, President-elect Donald Trump announced that Vice President-elect Mike Pence will now be serving as the chairman of his busy transition team. Mr. Trump's senior advisor, Kellyanne Conway, joins us next in studio and also later tonight.
If we don't get rid of Obamacare, it will destroy health care in North Carolina and all over the United States. We will build a great wall. And yes, Mexico will pay for the wall. They're going to pay for the wall.
President-elect Donald Trump promised the American people he would build that wall, repeal Obamacare. The Wall Street Journal is reporting tonight that Mr. Trump may be willing to keep two parts of it. What are they? Is it smart? We'll explain later tonight.
Negotiators in the world. We have the greatest business people in the world. We're going to use these great business people. Carl Icahn endorsed me, so many others. We're going to use our great leaders, our great business people. It's time.
President-elect Donald Trump on the campaign trail promising he will surround himself with great people when he enters the White House. And earlier today, Mr. Trump announced that Vice President-elect Mike Pence will now serve as the chairman of the presidential transition team. And his family will also be a part of it. Joining us now with reaction is the president-elect's senior advisor, Kellyanne Conway. Listen, a lot of people have been calling me today about transition this, transition that. Why don't you just tell us? We'll ask you straight up. What's going on?
Well, we're trying to form a federal government, and it's up to President-elect Trump to choose those advisors he wants around him on his senior team, key positions, cabinet. It's a very big task, but it's one that's been worked on for many months away from the campaign, Sean, by the transition team that was originally headed up by Governor Christie, who still serves as the vice chair. But it makes perfect sense to have Vice President-elect Mike Pence with this role because, first of all, most of the transition will go on in D.C., some of it here in New York, but also because Mike Pence will be the vice president. So you've got a lot of familiar faces, a lot of familiar names on that list, those of us who have been here, those who have been trusted advisors, elected officials, for Governor Pence and for Mr. Trump, and we're just excited to see how Mr. Trump forms his government and his team.
I guess the fear that I heard from some people was that will Donald Trump put people maybe that weren't as loyal to him during the campaign and surround himself with people, I would argue the cut and run people. You know, they're there now, but they weren't there during the tough moments in the campaign. Is that a possibility or that won't happen?
Well, we all know Donald Trump values loyalty. It's very important to him, and he is loyal to people in return. But in addition, you want to find people who are qualified and effective to do the job. And I think those are probably the two major criteria for him. I will tell you that there are very talented men and women who were part of his campaign and, frankly, who were part of his outside advisors or folks who just supported him and did so vocally and visibly. And if we're hearing from many of them, there's a process in place. We have an executive director who's working tirelessly to process some of these credentials and see where we are. But I think the most exciting thing that happened this week is the people have spoken. They had an election that's for them, Sean. I mean, I've been in polling for decades. You've been doing this for decades. People finally got their wish. They got the outsider. They got the non-politician. They got somebody who is going to go to Washington as our president who owes no one anything. And that is truly an election for the people, of the people, and by the people.
You know, there's always what we call a honeymoon period. I suspect in Mr. Trump's case, it may not be as long as he probably hopes for. To me, his job is probably simple, and it's probably something he's used to. In other words, he made very strong commitments about Supreme Court justices, about refugees, about the wall, about Obamacare, about energy, about education, about our vets, about national defense and national security. To me, if he just follows that list, I would think those people that supported him will be happy, made promises about taxes, corporate tax rates, repatriation of trillions. If we could send that money to Michigan and Detroit, and we could send it to Wisconsin and Ohio and Pennsylvania, those most depressed areas, people that would want to build factories and manufacturing centers, I think we could see a much quicker recovery than maybe we even saw during the Reagan years. Is that something that's on the table?
Yes, it is, and it certainly is worth a try, Sean, and you're absolutely correct. If you want to know what President Donald Trump is going to do, go read his 100-day plan. It's there for everyone to see. It is specific. It includes solutions, policies, and I think the excuse of divided government that allows people to get nothing done is over. The electorate gave Donald Trump the White House, but they also gave Republicans control of the House and Senate so that he would have a mandate. He would have the tools and equipment to let him pass these pieces of legislation that he has promised. And look at that 100-day plan. It's what you just mentioned, but it's also things like expanding educational opportunities. You know, something Governor Pence has done masterfully in Indiana is expand vocational and technical educational opportunities. Not everyone is college material. So you graduate high school with a skills certificate and you're eminently employable, especially to an administration that wants to bring back these jobs that have been shipped off to China and Mexico. We also, let's not forget, Sean, we have a vacancy on the United States Supreme Court. So obviously that's a big priority. Mr. Trump has already put out his list of possible nominees.
How certain are you he'll choose from that list?
Always be. He said that he will.
I believe he will, right?
He said that he will, and what's important about that list is everyone on that list is qualified to do the job, and everyone on that list is in the mold of an Antonin Scalia. He said that's very important to him. These are people who respect the Constitution, and they don't make up the law as they go along.
You spend a lot of time with Donald Trump. Do you think he understands there are now a lot of people kissing his ring and sucking up, and he's going to be the president, that probably will be the first to cut and run when things get tough? And it's inevitable. Things are going to get tough, as they do for every president.
Well, perhaps that's human nature, but what I do know about Donald Trump is the man is brilliant, and he has fabulous instincts, and he read America spot on correctly. And his messages, and him as a messenger, and even his delivery system through these rallies and through digital communication, some advertising, but really just his personal delivery system and his delivery style is what resonated. And I think anybody who's going to work in his administration, Sean, will realize that this is his presidency, this is his voice, these were his choices. People elected him and Mike Pence to do the job, and people ought to be supportive of that if they want to be part of the administration. I have to tell you, the Never-Trumpers have been a little quieter since Tuesday night. They have a right to say what they want, but they were dead wrong. People were just dead wrong about the data, about who is in the electorate, about our chances in the upper Midwest, about our chances in blue states that President Obama carried twice, where I've been saying for months Hillary Clinton's ceiling is 46, 47%. She just can't get past it. We have an opportunity. And it's his message. You know what you learned from this election? Quality candidates matter. We were always going to be outspent and never outworked or outclassed. And his message in the last couple weeks was positive and uplifting, but it was also very tough and very specific, but it was not negative and nasty. We took all the incoming from the other side, and history will show that the woman who lost as the first female president of the United States did it in the last couple of weeks with a very nasty negative campaign. She paid tens of millions of dollars to just descend upon Donald Trump, stop him, and it didn't work. People saw right through it.
Yeah. All right, Kellyanne, I assume you didn't get a lot of sleep this week. Can you count the hours? I assume you can, right? How many hours a night?
It doesn't matter. I'm absolutely, not many, but I'm absolutely euphoric and so happy that that Donald Trump is our next president and Mike Pence is our next vice president. I mean, it's great for the country, and I'll support them any way I can.
All right. Congratulations to you. It's certainly, I know you put in a lot of work. When we come back, this is